No black hats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Welcome to the Perfect Play Pursuit. It is I, your fearless leader, your host, your king, Lukey CK, joined by my two lovely colleagues, Alex, the Euro Under King, and Danny, the Bet Man. Danny, the Devil's Advocate. Second place, Danny. Third place, Alex. Big pimp, Lukey. I really do have to use the bathroom. I'm gonna let Alex host the show for a little bit. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. He can welcome me back, and he can ask me the important questions that you're all dying to know about my successful weekend. Thank you all very much. Welcome to the Perfect Play Pursuit.
Yeah, I mean, before Luke gets back, I guess I'll go into how I got, I kind of almost doubled my money on the week. And myself, I was sitting at like 275 last week, but I bet Tatsuya Taira round 2 TKO, and that happened with the injury. And then I also bet $200 on Miles Johns to get it done. So pretty stoked about that. I was actually pretty close to getting a decent chunk of change as well, but got robbed on that Armfield fight. That's just Brady Heinstadt stole it from me last minute. Hate to see that. Would have walked away with a little over a couple $1,000 on that one if he could have got it done, but we're not going to cry. We doubled our money. We're back in the game. We got more ammo. Oh, and Jekka Saragai, too. We could have had a lot of money if he got it done as well. But
more like if you listened to the Betman over here. I told you, Luke heeded my word, right? After I gave my argument on the show, he said, I see you're onto something. And then as I saw on his bet sheet, a lot of Weston Wilson, a lot of the dubs on Lukey's bet sheet. And as we can see by his score, profitability ensued.
All right, well, I'm back. Let's explain to the audience who might not know what we're doing here. At the start of year 5 of this show, which, if you know, our season begins May 9th. May 9th, when Tony Ferguson fought Justin Gaethje to bring sports back to the world during the pandemic. That is the first event we actually broke down as a trio. That's when the show began. So we started the show May 9th. It is now about a month in. We're 5 or 6 events into year 5. And at the beginning of year 5, we started a brand new version of the show where we all loaded $1,000 into our sports betting accounts. And the rules are simple. Get the $1,000 as high as you can by the end of year 5. Whoever gets it the highest receives 50% of the other two's accrued amounts as a sort of a tax, a bounty.
The other two's profits on the year.
I'm sorry?
The other two's profits.
Yeah, the other two's profits. So if the other two, for example, hit 0, there are consequences. We wanted to make ourselves the best gamblers possible. We wanted to put real stakes. What do we love most? What is best, as Conan would say? It is gambling. Gambling is best. It's what we love most. So if we actually lose the 1,000, if the 1,000 goes from 1,000 to 0, as opposed to the other direction, what happens is you're not allowed to bet on UFC fights unless it's your perfect parlay, meaning all the fights you pick that week as a parlay. This is the Perfect Parlay Pursuit after all. So you have to still pursue the perfect parlay. So we added one more caveat in there to try to help you get back into the game, which is that you can bet on a Triple P certified pick, a pick we all 3 agree on. You can now bet on that to try to win back up to your 1,000. But the stipulations will be in place as long as you are in the negative. So every bet that you place after being at 0, it still goes against your score minus, if you lose, it's minus 100, minus 200, whatever you're down. You have to wear that scarlet letter with shame all year long. So as you can see, I'm at 39-33, just 5 events into year 5. So what I've done, my strategy all along is the concept that you could take 1,000, turn it to 2 on a even money pick, turn it to 4, turn it to 8, turn it to 16, to 32, to 64, to 128. So I've now completed 1 to 2. And as you can see, 2 to 4. So we're doing really well in year 5. I would say I can actually take a little bit of an exhale, a little bit of breathing room now. I could almost wait for a perfect opportunity, but there's no time to wait because there's a deal in any market. And next weekend we have a deal. We have something that I've already placed $933.05 just to make my total balance say a neat little 3,000. I put that 933.05 already on somebody this weekend. We'll talk about who that is soon. But first, let's recap last weekend. Let me tell you guys how I went from 1,100 to 3,900 this past weekend. Shout out to Theo Vaughn. Okay, share screen. Let's do this. So this is a really epic story, guys. I'm pretty pumped to share it with you. This is my open bet sheet. As you can see, I've decorated it. It looks really pretty. It'll all make sense in just a few seconds. So up here is the size of the parlay. Here is the choice. I put over here the bet, right? So I even throw a little bit of more information here, like how much wagers I have out, what my pre-event total was, things like that, right? So I had all these parlays go, and as you can see, I put the ones that lose, I start to move them down to the bottom, but as the night gets closer to its finality, I leave them up here just to kind of be able to show what I was thinking on the show next, right? So, but what's cool about this is we have this tab here that just gives you all the picks that we gave that week, nice and neat for you, so you can see where we are. Then you have my tab, Alex's tab, Dan's tab. So I cashed out this 6-fight parlay. Now, this is one that I placed after seeing the weigh-ins, and I just kind of was like, let me just go biggest bang for my buck, right? Like the 5 or 6 fights, I think I got pretty good ideas of what's going to happen. If I can throw a prop or 2 in there, I will. But this is just what I'm going to do as kind of like when all said and done, my final idea. So Weston Wilson by sub, obviously it's a long shot, but the value is there. He was an underdog already. We know how bad Jekasarigi's game is on the ground. We know how much Weston Wilson wants to prove himself. He, at the end of the day, is in there with the coward Wonder Boy, but Wonder Boy is at least a UFC vet. So I threw that in there for like plus 440 or something like that. Gabby Fernandez, even though Dan talked us into Carly Judice, and even though she put on a really great performance, I still thought that since she was so novice in MMA, she wouldn't be able to get it done against Gabby Fernandez. So I wanted to throw Fernandez in there because she was sub minus 200 odds. Adam Fugit, as the fight drew nearer, I was hearing more and more about his preparation and what he was doing to get ready for this fight. He was a slight underdog. I threw him in there. Asu Amabayev, I got plus 200 on him, guys. He was a minus 500 favorite. Managed to get him by points. I figured Josie Johnson, tall drink of water, a lot of physical attributes, very skilled. It's going to be hard for Asu to get him out of there, but he's going to be able to get the takedowns. I was correct. This is where, so I fell asleep for the Fugit fight. I woke up halfway through the Asu Almabayev fight, realized what's going on here, consulted the boys about Johns versus Da Silva. They were offering me a $2,000 cash out at this point, guys. So I didn't take that. I let it ride. Then at certain points in the Tiara versus Perez fight, it was basically being offered to me like $3,600 at one point to cash it out. Instead, what I did was I bet on Perez. So I threw $900 on him for $1,059. And then live, I threw $300 on him for $870. So I stood to make like $2,000 on Perez if he wins. But then this was all for me $3,600, and it was a max payout of $6,935, so almost $7,000, right? So with the hedge, if you consider the hedge, the 1,100, whatever it was, hedge on Perez, you would see that like I'm basically set to win like 5,500 or 2,000. That's like what it came down to. I ended up taking the $3,100 cash out on this fight after round 1. I just wasn't loving what I was seeing as far as TR's physical attributes. His physical hardiness didn't seem to be there. It didn't seem like he was having as easy of a time. I thought as the fight drew on in the rounds, I thought Perez would start to get the advantage. And also my hedge bet was going up. As you can see, I cashed this out for, this was $900 to pay like $2,000. That's what it was. And the $1,059 is what I cashed it out for. So it was $900 to pay like, it was like plus 180 or plus 150 or something odds. So plus 140, maybe, I forget. But anyway, so this is just what I cashed it out for. So I made $159 on the Alex Perez cash out. And the reason I cashed it out is because I saw him after round 1, the bets on him were going up and the 6-fight parlay was going down. It went from 3,600 down to 3,100. I thought this could be one of my last chances to still come away with more than $2,000 in profit, which would be what I would have gotten if Perez had won. So I cashed it out. I said, let me cash the Perez one out for $1,000, but then I threw $300 on Perez live for $870. That lost because I figured, hey, if I'm cashed out, I might as well try to capitalize on the other side if that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. But as you guys can see, I had some options going into the Gary fight, I hedged out on Brady Heinstad. Kind of embarrassingly, I threw like $300 on him live, then I thought he was about to lose. But by this point, I was looking at my $2,000, on the table here, and I'm like, all right, we're good no matter what tonight. We can get a little crazy. So when Brady won, I basically broke even on the night. I won like 150. I won like pretty much everything I had lost back at that point. So I was in a completely break-even position, pure profit to be gained from whatever my decision was from here up, and that's that. That's all she wrote. I won 3,100. My total is 4,000. I put 933 on a fight this weekend. Overall, not too much I need to talk about as far as the card goes. I think that I took a little bit of notes here. Chris Taglioni, he sucks, right? I mean, Knudsen kicked her opponent 4 to 5 times, up kicks to a grounded opponent. There was no physical interference from the ref whatsoever. There was no interference whatsoever until he called time, and that was he had to wait until Pilastri protested and got herself free of the situation. Doesn't take a point away, barely gives back the position. I wrote Shrek, retiree, pensioner, Velcro shoes, bus driver. Fuck you, Chris Taglioni. Alan Juban, he tweeted, good reffing. Okay, I just want to let everybody know that. Alan Juban tweeted good reffing. So, whatever, guys, he's not going to, I know people thought he was, good looking. He's only getting older. So, if that's all the reason he's at the desk out, let's get one of the better-looking young guys in there. You can't be coasting off your looks forever. And, man, Alan Juban, that was not good reffing. It's some of the worst reffing every time that man is in there. Anyway, Pilastri, I bet 55 to win 227 on her. So live when I saw how the fight was going. So would have loved the point get taken away, but no worries. In the future, anyway, sorry. What's up?
Yeah, I kind of got into it a little bit before you hopped on, but, the biggest losers for me on the night are certainly, Timmy Cumbia, getting knocked around by an old-ass man like that. That was tough to watch, very tough to watch. Garrett Armfield, you were whooping his ass the whole time. You got Laxi Daisy in there, and then you get finished in the third round. That really, really, really burned me. Dr. Jekka, you go in there and get submitted by a karate guy. That's no good. That's no good.
A first-round finisher with his ground game. So,
He's
a first-round finisher with a ground game, and once you
he's
saw
a karate specialist.
Once you saw them boys,
he's got like 15 subs on his record. We told you this.
Once you saw those boys facing off, you should have known that little shrimp, Jekka Saragi, he was a shrimp, dude. He looks. He's not built like American steel, even our worst. What I mean?
He's terrible on the ground. That's his MO. He's like a Muay Thai kickboxing dude who doesn't know anything about grappling. And Wesley Wilson, most of his wins come by subs, so it's like an not easy play. He was still plus 280 and plus 500 for the sub play, but that was the path.
Listen, it's
Norden Becky needs to be cut. Norden Becky needs to be cut right now. You don't win 2.5. This, you're not fighting Anderson Silva, and you're not Chael Sonnen. Okay, this isn't the highest level of the game. You didn't fight for 25 minutes. You can't get tired in the third round being on top of your opponent for 15 friggin' minutes.
Yo, but I wrote this in my notes after that fight. He took a big exhale going into round 3. I'm pretty sure they were offering me positive money on the bet I had on him, and they ended up. I just seen him go yes, and I'm like, I should cash out, and then he ends up losing. I'm like, yeah, I should go with that gut decision next time, guys. If you see something, say something.
Yeah, for sure. Dan, how about you? What are your thoughts on the night?
So my first big loss was the over 2.5 on that fight. Costa, Norden Becky. I was 45 seconds away. I had that and Costa for pretty much all my parlays. So it's all right, at least I'm half and half on that. Nate Menes and Jimmy Flick to go to not start round 3. I had that damn near everything. I was Nate Menes is gonna knock him the fuck out. And if not, Jimmy Flick is going to get a crazy sub. Terrible fight. Very boring.
Nate Menes is a loser of the night, too, if you ask me.
Yeah, got to get that guy out of there. But I'll tell you this. I think there's something going on with these new gloves because I don't think we've seen all that many knockouts for the past 2 events that they've been used. If you go back to the previous card, the knockouts were like Bruno Ferrer, and that was a spinning elbow. You have the main event, which was controversial. He didn't even go out, didn't even go down. And there was no knockouts on this whole card this past week. So I think there might be something to brew in here. I think these gloves might be a little bit more padded than our typical 4 ounces here. That was my initial thought. So maybe something to look into as far as like overplays or things like that. Other losses. I mean, the Minas flick thing really killed me. And then the Garrett Armfield, like you said. I mean, I thought he was, from my research and like other people talking, I was like, Armfield, he's got really good wrestling. So, nice guy Brady, his wrestling will be canceled out. And then, of course, the striking, I think Armfield has a huge advantage there. And he really did. I mean, he knocked him down multiple times. But what we got to factor in is that Brady Heinstein, to his credit, he gets a lot of 3rd-round finishes. He just never says die. He puts on a crazy pace, and he finds the back and gets the rear naked chokes. So something to look into next couple of fights with Brady. But yeah, not a great event for me. Your boy lost 147. I'm down to 692, but still in second place and still alive.
I doubled up. I think I was at like 225, 275-ish, and now I'm nipping at Dan's heels yet again.
Yep.
Yeah. It was never a competition against you guys for me. I just want you to know that you'll never believe that. You'll never believe that. I know you'll think I'm just being cocky. I swear to God, I'm not. I promise you that I never looked at this as like, oh yeah, I want to get half of their money or when the dust is like, it's always been me versus me in my head. This competition I wanted to put the gun to my head and say, hey, you lose, you're done. You lose, you don't deserve to be gambling on UFC anymore. So let's go. It's time to put up or shut up. And here we are.
Luke, you're not going to believe this, but I know that that's the reason you did this. And I know that you needed that. And I know you're actually going to end up not taking any of my money because at the end of the day, this was a battle against yourself and it wasn't a battle against me whatsoever. So I'm glad that you came to this realization now.
Well, I said I wouldn't take it. It doesn't mean I won't give it away. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean I won't.
Well, you won't take it because I'm taking first place back. I'm going to be back. Don't worry, because Conor McGregor's out. Alex Pierre's in. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about this. And everybody knows I'm the Alex Pierre whisperer. I'm the guy who brought him to the table. I'm the guy who spent $1,000 on him in both of his last fights and won big on him both times. And now I get the gift that keeps on giving. I get Alex Pierre again this year. Boys,
well, it looks like we're going head. Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're going head to head because I'm the Yuri boy, and I have not lost faith in Yuri, and I think Yuri's coming back with a vengeance.
Me too.
And Alex,
I kind of think Yuri's going to win too.
Pounds. He has to cut like 21 pounds.
Yeah, I kind of think Yuri's going to win too myself.
Okay. So I don't know. But yeah, I am excited. That is going to be a great fight. It's interesting that Khamzat Chimaev versus Robert Whittaker, the fight that we're about to break down this weekend, was rebooked with a new opponent, and the McGregor fight was rebooked with a new opponent. And now people are acting like it's funny because like there's that meme going around of like McGregor and Khamzat, but it's like this is the first and only time McGregor has ever pulled out of a fight, ever. So
and Khamzat's a pull-out merchant. He pulls out all the time.
He pulls out of his whole career. But I mean, hey, listen, it must be bad, But here's what I'll say: the guys from the Caucasus Mountain region who train with that wrestling heavy style and have beards like the Amish tend to be pull-out merchants. They tend to be guys who will only show up and fight if it's 100% convenient for them. I like the American style, which is the fight doesn't begin when the referee says go. The fight begins every single day when you don't want to put your shoes on to get up and go to practice. It begins when you have the flu and don't want to even make that walk, but you do anyway because you're Michael Jordan, because
on my best day I can beat anyone. On my worst day I can beat anyone.
Exactly. The real loss is not showing up and trying, which Khabib did many, many times. He might say he's undefeated, but there were many times he was admittedly unable and unwilling to even show up and try. So
which in wrestling is a loss.
And you
lose by forfeit.
Brings me perfectly to Joshua Van versus Tagir Ulanbekov, Khabib's best friend. Khabib's best friend we said on this show, he has pulled out of 6 fights. Now 7. We said he has pulled out of 6 fights. Every single instance where there's a C on Tagyirullanbekov's record, every single one of the instances, Tagir withdrew. Every single one. Now, the 7th one, he misses weight. And it's a combined double whammy of cowardice when you're a weight bully who has to suck all the water out of your body in order to fight smaller men. And then you fail in the attempt because you're too much of a pussy to even be a weight bully. You know what I mean? You're too soft to even starve yourself and sweat and be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, and then you miss the weight. This is the 7th time you've pulled out. And that's 7 forfeits. That's 7 times that, that's almost like being a draft dodger 7 times. The war came a knocking and you went a hiding 7 times. Voldemort had 7 Horcruxes. Tagyirullanbekov has 7 pullouts and 0 knockouts. McGregor, clip this, repost this. McGregor, post this. I know you agree with me. These guys are boring fighters. These guys are pullout merchants. These guys are weight cutting crybabies. They fight less than anybody. They don't have a American work ethic. Say what you want about capitalism, but at least we get people out of bed. More than twice a year. So anyway, fuck Tagyirullanbekov.
Fuck Khamzat Chimaev.
Fuck Khamzat Chimaev.
Hope everything's okay, though. It looked bad.
I hope everything's okay. One of my favorite fighters. Really respect you, but also
he has food poisoning.
Yeah,
it's nothing. He has food poisoning.
I heard that it was food poisoning, and if that's the case, it's even worse. It's like, so not only are you so dumb you don't even know how to eat. You've been on this planet for 30 years, and you literally don't even know how to eat. That's like saying you got sleep poisoning or going to the bathroom poisoning. It's like, this is a fundamental every single day type thing that you have to do every single day. First of all, food poisoning. Why are you eating? Isn't your fight in 5 days? Stop eating. Get the weight off. Instead of sitting there with the fucking towel, sweating and crying, how about you stop eating now, and then you can kind of coast it. You're out here eating and doing it poorly. Like, if you can't figure out how to sleep, eat, chew bubble gum, and walk at the same time at this point, it's like, what are we doing here, Papa?
It's like, oh, that's your takeaway?
How many times did Brendan Schaub pull out? Probably fucking 0. Let's go check Brendan Schaub's record real quick. While we do that, let's shame Khamzat a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, absolute cowardice.
It's really, let's think about this. He's out here fighting 3 times in 2 weeks when he hits the scene. Then he meets Darren Till, the pullout merchant of all pullout merchants, right? And now he pulls out all the time. So, you know what's even better? Oh, we got so much to talk about. Darren Till is fighting on the Jake Paul card against the guy that fought Anderson Silva, who's Jose Cesar Chavez Jr. Julio, he is fighting on that card. He's posting that thing of like, oh, Jake Paul, like, we should fight, and right? Jake Paul's opponent pulls out, right? Okay, perfect opportunity for Darren. Nope, they give it to Mike Perry. Mike Perry, who deserves it. And I love it. Just salt in the wound, hot white iron right in Darren Till's heart. Shame Darren Till, hot white iron in his heart metaphorically, salt in the wound metaphorically, and politically, and just say, fuck Darren Till. I love that this is killing him. I love that this is eating him up inside. I love that Mike Perry is going to taunt and talk so much shit to him. I hope Mike Perry pulls no punches.
But Ariel, here's the thing. I just don't give a fuck.
Here's the thing, Ariel. I literally drive my car and I hear it in my head. I go, Ariel. It's like a bell ring. Ariel. It like rings in my head like a bell. Darren Till, I hope that Mike Perry, he's gonna come up to me and be like, hey mate, we both made it, mate. We're both doing well outside the UFC, mate. I hope you spit in his fucking face metaphorically. And I hope that Mike Perry spits in his face metaphorically and basically just says to him, You're a bitch.
Verbally assaults him.
I'm daddy. You're a bitch. You're on my card. I walked in. They wanted me. They could have had you. They wanted me because you're nothing. You're worthless. Nobody cares about you, and you have no value. You have no value. I hope Mike Perry just eats at him. Mike Perry. He thinks you're dumb. He thinks he's the sophisticated, smart guy who can do the wordplay, and you're just the brute. Show him he's wrong. Put him in his place, Mike Perry. Mike Perry, put him in his goddamn place. All right, we're done. We're done talking about Darren. Darren Taylor. The thing is, Ariel. What Ariel? The thing is, Ariel. What's the thing? You can't wrestle. You're undurable. And Tyron Woodley dropped you with a punch, and then went upside your head with the elbow.
And then subbed him.
Then went upside, and then he went upside your head.
And then got his black belt.
Yeah.
And Tyron Woodley's usually only dropping for one thing. If you guys are on Twitter, you would have seen that.
Come on, man.
I had a deep conversation with Steven Seagal last time I was in Dubai.
We're going to Dubai this weekend, everybody, and there's a lot to buy in Dubai, if you know what I am saying. And we have a lot to talk about. We're breaking it down. I got num juice. I got all sorts of fun gadgets and stuff to whip out during the show and share with you guys.
But what about gizmos, Luke? Do you have any gizmos?
I've got who's its. I've got what's its galore. What thingamabobs? I've got like 20. But who cares? I want more. So, if you know me, you guys know I have an insatiable appetite for life, and I'm going to absolutely put the fucking bullet in the chamber this weekend, metaphorically, and I'm going solo dolo, one shot, one kill, and it's one guy, and we're going to talk about him first and foremost.
One bet? Only one bet?
First, let's think about this. I'm looking at Tapology, which they're getting a little too ad heavy for me, guys. We are actively seeking a new show, a new website to look at on the show. Robert Whittaker versus Khamzat Chimaev. Chimaev pulls out for an illness. Shara Magomedov versus Ihor Potieria. Potieria pulls out with an illness. Said Nurmagomedov versus Montel Jackson.
His illness was he just got knocked out 3 weeks ago. That was the illness that he suffered from, Ihor Potieria.
He's like, yeah, I have a concussion. Said Nurmagomedov versus Montel Jackson. I'm talking Montel Jackson. This is how we do. Kanye West, everybody. Kanye West. Said Nurmagomedov pulls out. Big surprise. Melzik Dazarian tore his labrum. He can't fight against Mohamed Naimov, the Hillman. Abu Azaitar was originally supposed to fight Dennis Tiuliulin. Abu Azaitar, he had to pull out. Farid Basharat was supposed to fight Montel Jackson. He had to pull out. Nobody wants nothing to do with Montel Jackson, it seems. But it's annoying when you got Abu Azaitar, Said Nurmagomedov pulling out when it's like, when are you going to fight then? Like, this is the Abu Dhabi card. This is the one with all your buddies that everybody can come and see you and bring you flowers. It's your super
Ramadan just got done. You couldn't fight for 4 weeks because of Ramadan.
What about Eid? Isn't today Eid?
It's a different Eid. There's like 3 different Eids.
Okay, good to know. Never mind. Let's not even talk about it. Okay, so, but I was just gonna, okay. So listen,
they have different suffixes.
We're going to start from the bottom and go all the way to the top, I think. The first fight's a 135-pound fight. It's two people that nobody in their right mind has ever heard of. But we'll take a look at it as a warm-up. We can't get right into the main event. We got to do a little bit of a warm-up, guys. So welcome to the show, UFC Riyadh. It's Riyadh season, everybody. UFC Riyadh, June 22nd, 2024. Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov, the Black Wolf. June 22nd, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, UFC Saudi Arabia. First fight of the night. The fight that will welcome everybody into the arena is a 135-pound matchup between a Chinese prospect and a South Korean prospect in Riyadh. We brought these guys into Riyadh for the fine people of Riyadh so that they can take their seats and have some action going on. It's a sophisticated dance, the way that you structure a card. You have to do it based on many factors, but this is very clear, very clear. This is a fight nobody cares about. This is a fight that they are putting on because nobody cares about it, so people can take their seats so that you can figure out what channel, what button to push. The only people who are going to care about this fight are us because we're going to bet on it, right? Plus 100, minus 120. We got to figure out the winner in this one because these are the type of odds you want to sink your teeth into. So let's figure out who the winner is here. Like I said, we're going into this fight. I've looked at the other fights, but this one I wanted to do fresh on the podcast. I want to do a real-time study. So first up, we got Long Zhao, okay? Long Zhao versus Chang Ho Lee, okay? Chang Ho Lee plus 100 on Tapology. Long Zhao minus 120 on Tapology. Both coming off of 4-fight win streaks with a loss prior. Sorry, 3-fight win streak for Lee, but let's not do semantics like that. Okay. So this guy lost against Christian Quinones 2 years, 7 months ago. Goes on a 4-fight win streak, all decisions. Lee loses to Sim Kai Zhang, a 3-0 guy 2 years ago, and has put together 3 wins, all finishes. And they were all part of the road to UFC, except for one. So the 30-year-old
this is the road to UFC final.
This is the road to UFC final.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at him just objectively, the guy on the left, Long Xiao, his picture, he looks like he's got, I don't know.
Holy Xiao, Chang, you believe that Long has like 38 fights?
38 fights, yeah. I mean, but it's like
you don't even give me any credit for that wordplay. Ho Li is his name. Ho Li Xiao. Chang, you believe that Long has 36 fights?
Holy cow, I get it now. Okay, that's pretty good. It's really, really good, man. That's like it's so good. I really appreciate it and I love it. Yeah, well, his only loss is to, he's lost to 2 guys early in his career. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. His only loss. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't care how many fights he's got. I'm not impressed by any of it. I'm not impressed by damn any of it. He's got 8 losses, and 7 of them are to somebody I never heard of. One of them is to a guy I'm not really that impressed with. At least this guy's only got 1 loss. It's by decision. Sure, his win, and he's got 3 finishes. At least I can assume. I'm going with Lee. That's all I got to say. I'm going with Lee. South Korean versus a Chinese guy. They have to join the military in South Korea. I know this guy has military experience. So for that reason alone, I'm going with the Mr. Lee.
And Luke, you're not alone on this one. I believe 72% of Tapology is on your side with this, most of which coming by decision is what they believe.
All right. Say no more. I'm betting all $3,933 on Lee.
Okay. Fair enough.
I double it. Boom. We're in, we're out, we're clean, we're neat. First fight of the night. We don't need to do anything else.
Then you have so many other options. No. You're looking at it all wrong. If you win all of that money on the first fight, you have so many options to win again later.
I'm not going to give it all back.
You can't give it all back, of course. But you have other picks on this card that you're confident in, of course. And with that much money, you might as well bet on Hanat Fakhretdinov at like minus 200.
No, Alex. See, this is how the machine falls apart, right? Like you're like, and then you might as well bet on. No. You're getting crazy. Dude. Crazy, dude. This is why you're in last place. I'm in first place. Just do you see? All right, I gotta go to the bathroom yet again, but break this one down. I'm taking Lee.
All right, I'm going with Xiao. Like, we say fear the young man and the young veteran in a game where veterans die young, and he's got 36 fights at the supple age of 26 years old. All that experience is going to do wonders against a guy who only has 10 fights. That's triple the amount of fights. I just think he's not going to be intimidated. He's going to be the bigger guy, the longer guy, the stronger guy, the younger guy, the faster guy. I'm going with Xiao on this one. Dan, what do you think?
I got to agree with Lukey here. I'm down with Lee. This is a fight, by the way, that is 7 months in the making. I believe that Xiao had some visa issues. The fight was pushed back all the way up until now. 7 months. These guys have been prepping for one another. Very interesting. But I do like Lee. I think the South Korean scene has much more going on for it as far as MMA is concerned, better training partners. I think his record is, more indicative of someone who's fought quality opponents here, where, we look at Xiao and his past couple of fights have been pretty good, I would say. He's got a guy with a 13-1 record, 13-1-1. The other guy was 10-3-2, although both those were a split and a majority decision. And then, of course, the loss to Christian Quinones not that long ago in 2021. I'm not all that high on Christian Quinones. I don't think many people are. I think that Lee, I think he's just the better spot here. We're going to get him at an underdog price of plus 110. Last time I checked on DK. Yeah, all things are adding up for the donkey spot here with Mr. Lee.
All right. Next up, we got Sadriskus, the Reaper Dumas versus Denis Tiuliulin. Luke, what do you think about this one? Cedric Dumas coming in short notice against Denis Tiuliulin, who is 1-4 in his last 5. How do you bet this one?
You don't. Simple as that. You don't want to bet it. These guys are both unskilled and unreliable. I mean, Cedric Dumas has more of the physical attributes, but Tiuliulin has more of the skills, but the skills aren't much. And Dumas, this is a guy that had Cody Brundage tired and on the ground and had to look to his corner like, what do I even do? I mean, he's very inexperienced on the ground, has decent stand-up, but even his stand-up is wonky at times. His cardio is not there. Too many tattoos denotes poor life decisions. We talk about this. He was fighting. Why do they always send him over there? Why do they always send him over to these countries where the only time he's going to be solicited because they're all going to think he's a SoundCloud rapper. Everybody's going to be thinking that he is not a fighter, but instead a performing artist. They're going to be like, is this Wiz Khalifa?
Same thing with Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker's always been sent over to the Middle East, seemingly.
It's weird.
We can't get Johnny Walker out of the desert. He's either in Las Vegas or he's in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's why he's like the fucking desert. I'm in the oh my god. But Tiuliulin's 36. Excuse me. Do I care that he's 36? He's Russian. He's got, I think, a better travel situation. I think he's you hear about Cedric Dumas getting arrested. You hear about Cedric Dumas. He lives in America. He's going to have to go over from America to this crazy country. Granted, he's been there before at least, but he didn't look great against Abu Azaitar. Didn't look great. Was that who he fought there?
Yeah. Are you talking about
Makhachev versus Volkanovski 2?
Cedric Dumas?
Yeah, that was in the United Abu Dhabi Emirates. Okay, so Dumas has been over here before, and he's gotten a win over here before. I just don't think it's going to happen now. I'm going with Denis Tiuliulin.
Yeah, something that strikes fear in my heart is the traps of Denis Tiuliulin. The fact that he is going to home turf in many senses. Way less travel. They're both really bad fighters. Denis Tiuliulin, his only win in the UFC is one Jamie Pickett, who is notoriously one of the worst fighters who was contracted on the current roster of the UFC before he retired. I really don't want to pick Dumas because I think Tiuliulin is more well-rounded. But there's something about Dumas, man. There's something about Pensacola, Florida. There's something grimy and slimy about Pensacola, Florida. I'm going to go with Sadriskus Dumas on this one. I think the Reaper is going to get it done. And might I say that's foreshadowing for later? Dan, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, gotta go with Dumas here. Denis Tiuliulin lost 4 of his 5 UFC fights, all by finish. And Dumas, one of his 2 losses in the UFC, it's because he was high, okay? Not allegedly. That's what he said. He was high. I don't think any UFC fighter would win a fight high. So
that's fucking illegal.
It certainly is.
Nick Diaz
the other fight that he lost. The other fight that he lost was his last fight, Nursultan Ruzabayev. Okay, we could give that. Yeah, he's okay. He's okay. We could give that a pass.
He got out wrestled by Joaquin Buckley. When's the last time you saw Joaquin Buckley do?
First of all, Joaquin Buckley is 2 feet shorter than that guy. He had a great center of gravity, and he has a wrestling background. So that adds up for me. This one adds up for me as well. The odds makers, they're giving it to us as well. -200 favorite for a guy who doesn't have a great reputation in the UFC, doesn't have a great reputation amongst odds makers, but it's clear that Denis Tiuliulin is very, very, very bad. Okay, his best attribute is not good. Cedric Dumas is going to piece him up. He's going to get the win. We're going with Dumas 2 out of 3 on this show.
I'm going Dumas too.
3 out of 3, triple P certified.
No. Do we triple certify Lee?
No.
No.
Alex, you went with the other guy?
Hell yeah, I took Xiao.
All right. I will stick with Tiuliulin.
Next up, we got Magomed Gadzhiyasulov versus Brunson Ribeiro. Now, this card in totality should be called all the fighters that have burned Alex in the past.
Yeah.
But, I digress. I am going to give it up to these guys on this one just because I'm really stuck on this one. I've been burned by Ribeiro in the past. I want to take him in this fight, but I have a sour taste in my mouth about him, and I can't take him under any circumstances. Luke, what do you think about this matchup?
Zhang, I was pretty heavy on Ribeiro over Zhang. It just felt like the right move there. He was, if you remember, he was plus 100, near even pick 'em fight. But I just felt like Brazil versus China, I just thought he was. They both went to war, and when the dust settled, Ribeiro was the one on the ground. Now, is he coming back a little too soon? Yes, it's only been 3 months. That was a brutal knockout. But he's not going to be denied here. So I'm taking Ribeiro plus 360 underdog. Ribeiro by finish.
Luke, do you still keep track of percentages and stuff like that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have
Dan, what do you think about
picks
this
here. I haven't added them up in a little bit. I got to do it, but you want me to tell you? I mean, there's been 1, 2.
I was just wondering because
it's only been 5 events so far. So
okay.
There's only been 5. It only took you guys 5 events to lose $500. It only took me 5 events to win 4,000 smackaroonies.
Hey, you could have been up like $8,000 if you had any balls.
Ooh. We were both telling you, and
it's the man in the arena, I'm the man in the arena.
You were the man in the arena, and you were instantly like, you had a no lose scenario in the arena, and you were like, "Get me the fuck out of here! I'm too nervous." You either won $1,500 or you won $7,000, and you were like, "Fuck it, I'll take 4."
Yeah. I don't know.
Am I up here?
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I'm gonna ride with. I'm just gonna call it Magomed. This was a tough one for me. Honestly, don't roll with my information on this one. I didn't get a chance to see either of these guys. We got one UFC fight between the two of them, and the one guy lost in the very first round. I'm just going to go with the fact that probably a matchup in Saudi Arabia is going to go to a guy named Magomed Gadzhiyasulov, who has an undefeated record and is probably pretty damn good. I will tape study this one. Go to the patreon.com/perfect parlay pursuit, and you'll see my official picks for this fight. More research needed, but official pick here is Magomed.
Okay. I should probably bet on Ribeiro just because in this scenario where I fade somebody who has done me wrong in the past, they 100% of the time win. When that is the only reason I'm betting against them. And that's the only reason I'm betting against them in this one. I'm going with Magomed. I really shouldn't. I should be going with Ribeiro because Ribeiro is going to come back and win this fight. But I was super high on him when he was coming into the UFC, even though he had a bunch of losses. I thought that would make him a little bit more primed for the game. Sometimes you got to get those losses out of the way early. But, I don't believe in him anymore. Magomed's like a minus 400 favorite. I'm not going to be too heavy on this. If anything, I'm going to end up putting some money on Ribeiro, but my official pick is going to be Magomed.
Muin Gafurov versus Naimov Kang, Mr. Perfect, Kung Ho Kang, coming off a loss, one of 10 losses that he's got, but his boy Muin Gafurov is coming off back-to-back losses. The minus 125, 28-year-old favorite will be 8 years younger than Kung Ho Kang. He's going to be 2 inches shorter and sacrifice 5 inches of reach to Mr. Perfect. out of South Korea. Dan, you were talking about South Korean MMA. Well, this is Tajikistani MMA. He also fights out of Fairfax, Virginia. Kaizen MMA. Thank God it's not where fucking what's his name trains, Ryan Hall.
I was gonna say, is it where Ryan Hall trains?
Be an absolute deal breaker if it was.
50-50.
It's 50-50. Be an absolute deal breaker if it was, but no, the Tajikistani is at a Kaizen MMA in Fairfax, Virginia. He's coming off back-to-back losses. I don't give a fuck. I picked him in both those fights, I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to pick him again here, mostly for the age, but also for the can't be denied factor. Has to get something done. First win in the UFC has to come sometime. Give me Gafurov by knockout. The way that he's fought in his last couple fights, he's like a dog on meat. In that first fight against John Castaneda, he wobbled Castaneda many times. If he can do that to Castaneda, he can do that to Kang. Gafurov by knockout. -125. My whole bet's going on Gafurov.
I disagree. I know this is a little bit of a risky pick. I'm going with Kang here. I did a good amount of tape study on this one. I'm not impressed with Gafurov whatsoever. He's good at getting that initial shot. Say what?
The John Castaneda fight didn't impress you?
No, not really. He's good at getting the initial shot and getting someone down, but there's no submission threat whatsoever. He racks up zero control time. Everyone always gets up. His striking is probably his best attribute, which is surprising considering he's probably
bang, 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 bang. He's like a little Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, he just throws hooks. He has no jab. He just throws hooks.
Who needs a jab?
Oh, everyone needs a jab. And I think Kang is going to be a lot faster on the feet. He's going to be longer. He's going to have the reach advantage. I think he's going to be the one jabbing, racking up the points based on that.
Way better.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Kang is much more well-rounded. Not, again, like I said, not impressed with Gafurov whatsoever. He doesn't have many knockouts. He doesn't have knockouts on his record. So
neither does Kang. How many does Kang have?
I mean,
how many does Kang have?
I think he's a better striker, so it doesn't really matter.
He has 19 wins, and of his 19 wins, he has 2 knockouts.
Okay, let's say this, though. Okay, Gafurov, 2021 Contender Series fight against Chad Anglanger. I don't think anyone
has 10 knockout wins to Kang's 2.
How many in the UFC?
He has no wins in the UFC at all to speak of. That's why he needs one more than fucking anything.
Okay, so he's fighting absolute tomato cans in the middle of nowhere. Versus Kang, who's fought in the military on top of the UFC ultra veteran. I'm going to go with Kang here. Let me just say this. Last point. Gafurov, Contender Series fight. Chad Anglanger loses to him. Nobody in the UFC community has respect for Chad Anglanger. It was a split decision win, but I think it was pretty damn clear. I mean, I think one of the judges was Adelaide Bird. He couldn't even hold Chad Anglanger down. I can't even say his last name. It was Anglanger. And Helliger, whatever his name is. Very unimpressive. I think Mr. Kang, Mr. Perfect, gets it done. I know it's risky because I know he's older, but it is what it is. I like him.
He was supposed to fight one Movsar Evelev, but was kept from it.
Who?
That was back in 2019, 5 years ago. They tried to hook Tajik Muin Gafurov.
Oh my God, he would get destroyed. He's so lucky.
For me, I'm going to go with Gafurov. I'm leaning Gafurov. I think he's going to win this one by split decision. The rest of the picks on the night I had so far were all unanimous decision. Told the boys I wanted to start giving out exactos, just in case. But I'm going to go with a split decision win for Gafurov. I think this is going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive. I think both of these guys came into the UFC with a lot of hype, a lot of hope. But neither have really seen their full potential in the UFC yet. And I think Gafurov's going to edge him to the win.
Beautiful. Not Fakhretdinov, Nicolas Danish Dynamite Dalby. He's coming off that majority, Hanit Fakhretdinov, majority loss to, it was a draw.
No, he's coming off of getting slept by Craig Jones twice. in one night.
Tell me about this. I didn't see it.
They did a submission grappling event in Karate Combat. Craig Jones submitted him once with something and then submitted him with a flying triangle as well. And the first time he choked Renat Fakhretdinov like completely out, and he let go, and the ref is like trying to stop it, and Fakhretdinov's like, no, I'm good, and like continues to wrestle. So then Craig Jones chokes him out again, like completely unconscious this time, like make sure of it, and drops him. And then they wake Fakhretdinov up, and then he tries to wrestle Craig Jones again, even though it's over. As a joke, though, he was doing it in fun. Like he like told the ref to chill, and then he like picked up Craig Jones and like started spinning him around in the air. But yeah, good matchup. Fakhretdinov versus Craig Jones. It was awesome. Craig Jones did like a flying triangle off like, you know how Karate Combat has the like basin type deal.
Yeah.
Like he did it like off that wall. He like kicked off the wall and did a flying triangle. It was sick.
That's dope. All right, so I'm gonna go with Renat Fakhretdinov by finish, but not for lack of trying, by Nicolas Dalby. He'll take it all the way to the decision.
No, he won't. Fakhretdinov, first round.
It was a finish or decision.
He'll decide that he is going to get finished in the first round. And that's going to happen. We were high on Dalby, man. I loved Dalby when he first came in. The whole Viking look to him. Luke was watching Vikings a lot at that time. Luke had a lot of
Last Kingdom.
Luke had a lot of Viking stuff going on in his life at that time. He was super into Vikings. But now we're super into Russians. Okay, now we're big time into Russians. Fakhretdinov wins this fight, first round finish, probably a club and sub.
I'm gonna
go Dalby.
No. I was looking for a way to pick Dalby, but I can't find it. I really can't. I think Fakhretdinov he's got the gas tank to keep it going for the 15 minutes. It may not be perfect all the way up until the end, but it'll be enough to stay alive, even with Dalby probably winning the third round because he's got that gas tank. He's got that dog in him. But I think Renat is safe in the first two rounds. He'll be racking up the points based on the control time. And obviously he's got the hometown cooking going on. So I like Renat here. Are the odds great? No, I think he's like where's he at? Minus 200 something. So he's not the best play in the world, but I think relatively safe. Just a couple notches below a parlay pillar, but I'm liking it.
I love it. Luke, you should bet all the money on Renat Fakhretdinov. And also, I think that Renat Fakhretdinov fight was in Saudi Arabia as well. So maybe he has just been chilling out there the whole time, which, is easily possible. Luke, would you mind if I take away the next one? Because I think I got a sizzling take on this one.
By all means.
We got Nasrat Haqparast versus Jared Gordon, not to be confused with Jared Gooden. I'm going to take you through this first. Haqparast is what I should call him, because every single time this guy fights, he is below expectations. He stinks. I don't like him. Where Jared Gordon, we should be rewarding good behavior. He does a lot of good things in there. He got off of the crack. He did Ultimate Ninja Warrior. He's done a bunch of good stuff.
Caralho.
Whereas Haqparast, he loses every single fight that we see him in, even the ones that he wins.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine.
Even the ones that he's won, we've been like, did he win that? Like, that was a close fight. I'm going to go with Jared Gordon here. I think that he's good enough to stay on his feet. I think he's good enough to outbox Nasrat Haqparast, even though, he is older and he's not necessarily as, touted as a Nasrat Haqparast. But, I got to go with Jared Gordon on this one. I got to reward good behavior. I got to penalize bad behavior. And Aliskerov has been doing nothing but bad things ever since he has gotten in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
He has not beaten a single guy in the UFC who is still in the UFC except for maybe one. Okay?
Well, let me say this.
Aliskerov has only beaten the only guy that he has beaten that is still in the UFC. Let me check. Let me check. Get on it, Luke.
You can do your
Jamie Malarkey won. Is McDessie still in the UFC?
Shouldn't be, if you ask me.
He's not.
Yeah.
This is in one fighting championship.
How about Rafa Garcia?
No.
Joaquim Silva?
No.
Yes, they are. You'll fucking know this. I think
Also,
no, I looked it up earlier.
John McDessie is not in one fighting championship.
Mark Diakese and Jamie Malarkey, I believe, are the only two that are still in the UFC.
honestly, I think Mark Diakese just got cut.
Okay, so that's one less. Dan.
But that
He
doesn't
lost
mean
to
he
Marcin
shouldn't-
Held. Dude, Marcin held my jock one time or another.
Yeah, but you guys, okay, here's what you're missing. Athleticism, size and shape of head, size and shape of muscles, pussy, or not pussy, I meant soft, weak. I didn't mean to say pussy, but I mean Jared Gooden is built like,
And what if they put what if they switch out Kelvin Gastelum and Aliskerov because they're both on this card and no one would even notice? You could put either of those two guys in either of those two fights and no one would know.
You would notice. Here's how you would notice, because Jared Gordon, despite the weight disadvantage, would beat Kelvin Gastelum. He won't beat Nazareth. I'm going with TriStar Jim's Nazareth Hapgrass. Why? Because TriStar Jim has more spies in Renzo Gracie and Killcliff MMA than you can shake a stick at. Faraz Zahabi has so many spies in Renzo Gracie's gym. He has spies and cameras up Jared Gordon's ass. And his fighter's 7 years younger. His fighter's taller. His fighter's longer. He's tall. He's long. And he's going to beat Jared Gordon. Sorry, Alex.
That's okay. Dan, what do you think about
I
this
almost
one?
fell into the trap that you're falling into. But then I recognized that was the wrong thing.
Same. I was looking for a way to bet Jared Gordon here. If we do a little simple MMA math, we got Joaquim Silva.
I know what you're thinking. It's the cool guy pick. It's the cool thing to do. It's the smart take. It's the smart guy and the smart mark in the cheap seats take. Don't fall for it.
It's not smart. It's not smart because no, it's not smart because Jared Gordon, he's got like a big name amongst the MMA community because of his performance against Paddy Pimblett. So it's like you're going with the name over like substance. What's going on here? So it's not the smart pick. And we've all kind of shit on Nazareth because he was a prospect coming in, but he had a couple big losses. But I think he's still better than Jared Gordon here. You look at the losses, like Bobby Green and Dan Hooker in the upper echelon of 155. I think at the end of the day, this guy is going to be the slicker striker. Jared Gordon, this is a guy who he's good on the volume and the tenacity, but I think the technique goes to Nazareth, and he's been putting on some good performances as of late and some good volume on top of that. 100 plus strikes and then some. So I like Nazareth here. It's obviously a greasy fight, not something I'm going to have a lot of investment in, but the pick goes to Nazareth.
Pick goes to
Hell
Nazareth.
yeah.
All right, next up we got your pick. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, okay, yeah. Next up,
Bullet versus Joelton Lutterbach. You said you had a hot take, so I wanted to defer to you. It's only a plus 185 underdog to Sharapova.
I got Lutterbach. I already put a big bet on Lutterbach. I think Lutterbach is going to absolutely smoke Sharapova. And here's why. This guy, Lutterbach, he's got a lot of high-level talent earlier in his career. He fought against DDP. He has fought against Alex Oliveira. He has fought against what's the guy's name? Carlston Harris. So he's been in there with some high-level UFC guys. Clay Collard's in there too, PFL guy.
PFL.
And he's fought in a bunch of different organizations doing different disciplines, all disciplines. It's not like he's only kickboxing or he's only boxing or he's only doing Muay Thai. He's doing kickboxing, boxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu. He is mixing it up on all levels with a bunch of different people. He is 38-10, and he is only 31 years old. He is a young man, very experienced, very strong, very talented. And Shara Bullet in his last fight was getting out-wrestled by Bruno Silva, who I didn't even know he knew how to do a takedown, considering like the other fights that he's had in the UFC. I've never even seen him go for a takedown until he fought Shara Bullet. And not to mention the guy can't see out of one of his eyes. So that's
mentioned Bruno Silva can't even beat Chris fucking Weidman.
Bruno Silva, for how bad he did against a blind man, Chris Weidman took one of his eyes. Okay, think about that.
Actually, you know what? That is the karmic loop of MMA. I can't believe we didn't put that together until now. Good
and Chris Weidman's got a lot of weird magical, like mystic things and charismatic balance things that happened to him specifically. So you have to imagine Chris Weidman was coming for that eye. He got the word from Shara Bullet right away. Because, you know,
100%.
And guess what? And guess what, guys? I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but one eye poke to Shara Bullet on his good eye, and what can he see? One punch to his good eye, what can he then see? Have you guys ever seen the Grudge Match movie with Joey Coco Diaz and Robert De Niro and Al Pacino? Grudge Match? Are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure he's blind in one eye. I don't know. But anyway, we're going with Lutterbach. I already put a bunch of huh?
Lutterbach.
Lutterbach. Hey,
cut the episode.
That means episode's done.
All right, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. Alex, I'm glad you're going with this pick. I thought I would be on an island. I thought I would be a leper, but I'm going with Lutterbach as well. What I love is a guy who has a game plan. He is confident enough to put it out there, be like, this is what I'm going to do. And he said, I'm going to take Shara Bullet down. I'm going to beat his ass. I'm going to possibly submit him, if not ground pound him. And I believe that. I mean, this is a guy with a glory kickboxing, experience and record. Fought in the PFL, obviously, damn near 50 professional MMA fights, and a young man to boot, like you said, at 31 years old. So I think Lutterbach's got the goods. I think that the price tag on Shara Bullet is purely based on the hype, purely based on where this is at. I think if this were an actual clear betting scenario, it'd be much closer to a 50-50. So with that said, I think Lutterbach is the side here.
Awesome. And I think this is a load up play. Like I already put $50 on Lutterbach. I think he was like plus 180, plus 200, something of that. And I think he might have been plus 200 when I put this bet on there. I was going over the notes today, and I caught a good line on Miles Johns last week when I put that $200 on him. I did it live on the show last Monday when we were breaking it down, put $200 on Miles Johns because I thought minus 165 was just outrageous against a 38-year-old man at 135. And I think I might have gotten ahead of this Lutterbach line again this week because right when I got him, he was either plus 180 or plus 200. I think it was plus 200. So I'm super excited for that one. Next up, we got Johnny Walker making
I didn't get my pick, but off the sheer fact that you like something about Lutterbach and I didn't like what I saw against Bruno Silva, I'm going to go with Lutterbach as well.
Okay, cool. So you're not sticking with your one-eyed brother.
And this time. It won't be on heavy. It won't be on everything. But this next one, I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. I don't see how, the only way that Johnny Walker fucks this up is if he does what he tends to fucking do, right? What he did against Thiago Santos, what he did against Nikita Krylov, what he did against a lot of guys, right? Mohamed Ankalaev. Like, he blows big opportunities. This is not a big opportunity. This is a must-win situation. I got to go with Johnny Walker, but, man, it's like, if only he could make this easy, because minus 120 odds, that's like generous as all get out for a guy who, is 6'6", 82-inch reach, 7.5-inch reach advantage, 2 years younger, but like on the better side of the 30s. I really can't see
how Johnny Walker can find a way to lose this, but God,
Now, Luke, correct me if I'm wrong, but Oezdemir in his last fight, he kind of went D1 on us, didn't he?
I mean, he got a rear naked choke submission, so.
Yeah, I was about to say, if I remember correctly, last time we saw Volkan Oezdemir, he went D1 to Jacase on us.
But can he do that against big-ass Johnny Walker?
He did that against Brogdon Guskov?
Yeah.
And he won?
Yeah, rear naked choke.
He beat Anthony Smith the Orsh?
It was
the Orc? But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go with Walker. I just think he's bigger, faster, stronger, and younger. You got to go with the tangibles on this one. I love No Time. I loved No Time on the come up. I love seeing him win again. But, these guys are very, 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 very similar guys. Guys who, kind of got the fast track to the high level and then kind of got hard stopped. It's, like playing a game, you get hard stopped at a certain point. You get to a certain level of matchmaking, you're going to get hard stopped by somebody. And that's exactly what happened with these two. I think this is a great matchup for both. I'm going to go with Walker. I think Walker knocks him out first round. He should have.
Yeah. I hate Volkan Oezdemir ever since he fought DC for the title. In the press conference, he goes, "I'm going to beat you because I have heart." And DC goes, "Okay, Volkan. All right, Volkan. You got heart. That's awesome." Johnny Walker, I like this new and improved version of himself. I know he's coming off the controversial loss or whatever, but I think he's looked great. I think he's obviously way more athletic than Volkan Oezdemir. I think he's going to be really hard to take down if that's this new and improved version of Volkan. And I think the striking is going to be way, way in favor of Johnny Walker, especially now that he's like, he's looking to stay within himself. I could use a little bit more aggression from Johnny Walker. I think he's taking it a little bit too far back. A little bit more wildness, a little bit wild and crazy would be, I think, advantageous to him. But, sticking behind that jab, going with the, not TriStar. What's the Conor McGregor gym that he's training at?
SPG, straight blast.
SPG way. I think that's benefited him.
He was at TriStar for a little bit too, though.
He was there. Yeah. They're kind of in the same.
Listen,
I think that this fight would have been so much better like 5-10 years ago. Like when these guys were on the rise and Johnny Walker was doing the worm and was untouchable in the UFC, and same with Oezdemir when he's sitting there fucking tapping his no time, tapping his damn wrist. That fight would have been electric back then, but now it's like a bit of a sleepy fight. I'm excited about it, but is everybody else? I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it's a good fight. I also took Lutterbach by submission, and I'm taking Johnny Walker by knockout first round.
Beautiful. And we're going to start getting more into specifics. So Muhammad Naimov versus Felipe Lima. Who wins in this fight? The fans. I'll say that much, because if you look at fucking 12-1 Felipe Lima coming off flying knee knockouts, coming off of some decisions, but ultimately, one loss, one blemish, Amazonias, Brazil, right? All-Stars Training Center. A lot of good things to like about this guy making his debut. Personally, I'm going to go with Naimov just because kind of a, reward good behavior. He's got an impressive gym himself. He's stateside. He's had a fight 3 months ago in the UFC. He's won all 3 of his fights in the UFC, and they've all, except the one against Nathaniel Wood, who's an amazing, he was an underdog in that fight. I think he's an underdog in the fight against Jimmy Malarkey.
Hot prospect, Nathaniel Wood.
Yeah, I'm big on Naimov. He hasn't done me wrong yet. I got to ride him, but I'm going to like this guy Lima, and I like I can already tell I like him. I like the cut of his ear. I like the intensity in his topology pick. I like his record, I like his age, I like everything. So I'm going to go with Naimov. He's too much man for this kid, but keep an eye on Lima. Hot prospect.
I love Lima as well. I think that this is going to be like a new Diego Lopez type situation where this guy comes in, he's a little outmatched in his first go. I actually think this one's going to be a little bit more lopsided for Naimov than the Evelev fight, because I could give that.
Short notice, like with Lopez, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that Lima's going to come onto people's radars a lot more in his next fight in the UFC. This is going to be short notice. He's going to be a little bit outgunned. It's going to be closer than people think, but I think that Naimov is just going to be there in the later rounds, the second, the third round. I think Naimov actually gets a finish in this fight. TKO, nothing too crazy. Just a TKO against the fence, or ground and pound, something of that nature. Not a flash knockout of any sense, but I think Naimov finishes this fight with a TKO. Last minute replacements lose at a rate of like 66%, right, Luke?
Yep.
That's that.
So debutants, so double whammy.
And a debutant, so double whammy on that. Naimov is a beast, and I think he would have even beat the shit out of the gun. I just think that Naimov has a little bit more diverse skill set than the gun. And I think that Lima has a future in the UFC, and I think it's going to be a lot like that Diego Lopez comparison. Dan, what do you think about this one?
So I'll say this. I literally know absolutely nothing about Lima. This is the first time I'm hearing about this replacement. I thought it was the gun. I was going to pick the gun because I'm honestly not that high on Naimov here. Losing to Colin Anglin, big red flag for me. Again, I just thought the gun was way more offensively sound through the striking. Anticipated that his takedown, wrestling defense would be a lot better. I don't know what's up with this Lima kid, but I need to take a look at that. I would stay away from this fight in general. I guess I'll go with Naimov. He's coming off of 3 straight wins in the UFC.
Is Lima fighting his actual weight class?
Take it with a grain of salt.
Just enjoy the fight.
Is Lima fighting his actual weight class, or is he usually 135?
Dan just said he doesn't know anything about Lima.
Lima's usually 135, so he's fighting up a weight. He's going to be a little outgunned here, guys.
Exactly.
Like I said,
This must have been a replacement like today. He's going to be on like 3 days notice. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Built-in excuse. Okay, so Kelvin, so we're going to totally certify Naimov, but we all like Lima.
Mm-hmm.
No hard feelings.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
Dan doesn't know anything about him, so he doesn't know if he likes him or doesn't like him.
Bet sheet for a lot of this stuff. Okay. Kelvin Gastelum, Daniel Rodriguez in a fight no one has ever seen on UFC Undisputed or UFC Unleashed. No one has ever chosen to make this fight. It's a what are we doing here, Baba fight. It's a what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And why does Daniel Rodriguez get all these matinee matchups? What did he ever
I don't know. What a great
wonder, what did he ever
his
do?
Podcast.
Listen, let me talk. In a way, sorry, I'm just saying his podcast. What did he say? He's friends with Joe
Podcast
Schilling.
is ass. It gets like 300 fucking views a week.
Look, it's like
it ain't nothing special. We're fishing more views than Daniel Rodriguez, and I haven't strapped up the gloves once.
I want Chase Hooper on a silver platter. No, not anymore. Not anymore. I want Ryan Hall. No, I don't even want Ryan Hall. He'll fucking throw them kicks. He's either going at your fucking knees or he's throwing crazy ass kicks. I want Ryan Hall.
I want a YouTube boxing match against some YouTuber. Any YouTuber. Give me any YouTuber.
D-Rod, he lost, and I remember there's a video of Dana White coming up to him afterwards, like, "Oh yeah, it's all good. We love you. Like, you'll be back." And then there's the whole tainted supplement thing. I don't know. Dana Rodriguez, I'm just curious about this guy. What's going on here? I'm taking Kelvin Gastelum here, but don't love the odds. Don't love the age on D-Rod, but don't love the odds on him either. You got to give me him at plus 400 for me to consider him here. I don't know. No bet for me in this fight. No bet. No watch. Bathroom break.
Who'd you take?
Yeah. I'm taking Kelvin, but bathroom break.
Yeah. I'm taking Kelvin.
It's just like, who cares? What's in it for either of them? One guy gets back on a win streak after 2 losses to guys I hate. I like Neil Magny, but Neil Magny's finishing you. Neil Magny just finished Mike Malott. He's the man, actually. But you get what I'm saying? It's like
you're getting pounded for like 2.5 rounds.
Like, you can't lose to Nick Dalby. You can't lose to Ian Gary and then beat Kelvin Gastelum. You got to lose to Kelvin too, But he's got 7 UFC wins, Can't really
take your lumps.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. What do you guys take?
KG for me too. KG for me as well by decision.
Kelvin Gastelum easily, even during D-Rod's heyday where he was racking up a couple wins. I was like, this guy sucks. He's slow. Like, he has no power. His jiu-jitsu is 10th planet, which has no place in, a professional MMA. I like Kelvin Gastelum here. Training out of Fight Ready, our boy Santino DeFranco coming off a win with Adam Fugit. Props to Santino, who was training with Kelvin Gastelum, Adam Fugit, that is. So I think their gym is on fire. They're going to carry that over to this fight. Kelvin Gastelum for the dub.
Yeah, D-Rod is booty. And, I realized I could do anything with my life when I found out that D-Rod got into combat sports at 28 years old, which is older than I am. So if you're getting into it that late in the game, you have some issues. And if you have a face tattoo, you got even more. Next up, we got Sergey Pavlovich versus Volkov, a Russian delight. What do we call this? What's a good Russian? A tiramisu? Is that Russian? I don't know. Tony Ferguson said it at Habib for ages. I thought tiramisu was Russian. I don't think it is.
What's the Russian dolls? Like they're stacked on top of each other. What's that called?
7-layer cake. You're thinking of a Smith Island cake.
Patrinka dolls. Dan.
I'm thinking of the dolls, not a cake.
Nesting dolls.
Patrinkas.
Nesting.
Is that really it? I never heard that. Whatever.
Nesting.
Whatever.
So we trophy certified, KG?
Yes.
Yeah, stupid. Don't bet on that, guys. Okay.
Bet the over. Bet the over.
Not at those odds. You want Kelvin at plus 180 at this.
Luke. Just quick question. Now that we got Pavlovich,
you all picked them, but you think you should be an underdog? Yes. I can't explain it. Don't ask me.
Luke. So, seeing as we have Pavlovich versus Volkov, remember when you squandered away all of the Patreon money that we had?
I mean, just fill the audience in because we bet all the Patreon money on Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, and I was so confident in that. My girlfriend, it was a huge card. She says, "What?"
Especially by knockout. I'm like,
she says to me, "What's one pick on the card that you think wins?" I said, Alex Pereira, Sergey Pavlovich, parlay him. I said, bet your life savings on it. And Tom Aspinall goes out there and doesn't tear his ACL. Who'd have thunk it?
Well, we'll talk about all that later. We got 2 more fights to break down. I'm taking Sergey Pavlovich. Unless he's a completely busted-ass pony, he's going to get out there and redeem himself here. Yes, it was 7 months ago that he got knocked out, but it was a light knockout, just a light little knock, little bump on the head. He's going to get back to his winning ways and knock out Volkov. But, I would never want to take him at these odds. So, personally, it's a no bet for me. It's a learning moment fight for me. It's a let's figure out if Sergey is back or not. I'm not betting at minus 210 coming off a knockout. Not happening. So, if I do parlay him, I'll be hedging out on Volkov. It's the second last fight of the night.
Same exact boat for me. This is a hedge out play on Volkov all day. I don't have that much confidence in Pavlovich. I didn't have that much confidence in him against Tom Aspinall. So definitely not looking forward to this. Volkov is super long, super durable. He is very long-necked and very weak, and I think that Pavlovich could capitalize on that long neck and, bop it around a couple times. But I'm rolling with Pavlovich, but I think Volkov is going to be.
Pavlovich. How's he going to get Volkov down? He's not. Or how's Volkov going to get Pavlovich down? He's not. Right?
I think he might. I think he might just try to strike with him. I think Volkov is a striker, guys. I think he doesn't want to go to the ground, and a lot of guys take him to the ground a lot of the time.
If LeBron James Volkov shows up, where he comes in looking like fucking LeBron James Volkov, all right, yeah, then give me him. But I don't know if it's going to be LeBron James Volkov.
I have a homework assignment for all you viewers. Please tell me how many fights that Volkov has fought a guy with a longer reach than him. I would bet that it's not many. Maybe 1, maybe 2. But this is one where Sergey Pavlovich has a 4-inch reach advantage on him. I think that's going to give him a lot of trouble. Like these guys have said, I mean, we're not looking at a grappler here that's going to take Pavlovich down. It's going to be a striking affair where Volkov really, I mean, he's looking to decision guys. You don't want to be in that camp against a guy like Pavlovich, who is going to be deadly till the very end of the 15-minute mark. I think he'll find that mark and get the knockout. Although, I don't know, something, you know how it is. I mean, Volkov is tough to knock out. I mean, he's got the Derek Lewis knockout. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like who else has knocked him out? Not many in the heavyweight division. That's saying a lot. I know I'm kind of like backtracking here. I still like Pavlovich. This is a greasy card in general, guys. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not going to be investing a ton of money in this card in general. The pick for me will be Pavlovich. But, man,
And
I don't have to lose money this week, guys. I'm just going to do whatever Luke does. Whatever Luke does, I'm doing. Times 10.
Is Lutterbach your most the pick that you're going to put a lot of money on?
No, not even. Not even.
Right. Well, in the main event, Dan, you're going to want to go with me because I think this is Kismet, right? A year ago, you got married in July, about a year ago, give or take. And here we are yet again with an opportunity to bet on Robert Whittaker's opponent at underdog odds. Dana White said it best, guys, when he announced this fight. He said Ikram Aliskerov will become, I think, something to do with like the longest knockout streak currently in the UFC or the division or something. He told you right there. It's a knockout. Ikram Aliskerov by chin, sweet chin music, KO, finishing Robert Whittaker. I'm taking a money line. I'm taking him by knockout. I already have a $933 bet. Excuse me. This is crazy. My big moment. On Ikram Aliskerov. I'm betting Ikram Aliskerov. I already did bet him. I'm betting him again when the knockout line comes out. I'm going to take him by finish too. I love it. Give me Ikram Aliskerov. The black.
I didn't know the longest knockout streak in the UFC was 2.
Dana White said something about. Let me see. Let me look this up.
Can't be right. Can't be right, mate.
I mean, who has 3 knockouts in a row?
Alex Pereira knocked out his last 2 opponents, mate. What do you want me to say, mate? I'll go through my pick, I guess. I'm going with Whittaker. I'm going with Whittaker. I'm going with Whittaker by TKO, second or third round. I think Whittaker finishes him. Aliskerov is unseasoned. I think this is a big money play. Contrary to Dan's belief, I think there are spots on this card where you can play some big money, and I think this is one of them. I think Whittaker finishes Aliskerov. Luke just has a vendetta against Whittaker. This guy just came in 2 days ago. This fight is on Friday, 5 days away. How ready could he possibly?
Well, he was training for the week before.
Said when the fight was announced, if he gets a knockout, he'll go into. Hold on, me.
He was training for the week before, yes, but regardless, he was training for a much different opponent.
But he's still in fight camp.
If he gets a knockout against Robert Whittaker, he will go into a tie for longest active knockout streak.
At 3?
Yeah, at 3.
If he knocks out Robert Whittaker.
That's not saying much. That's like when they say, the longest heavyweight reign, 2 fights or whatever it is that Stipe had. It's like, all right, who cares? Like, let's get actual streak going here.
Yeah. But anyway, going with Whittaker. Whittaker's fought more high caliber opponents. Aliskerov is a one-trick pony. He hasn't really seen the later rounds. He is going to get finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round by Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker was going to beat the shit out of Khamzat Chimaev. Anybody who tells you otherwise doesn't know anything. How do I know? Because Khamzat Chimaev couldn't even make it to the fucking fight. That's how I know Robert Whittaker would have finished him in the 3rd or 4th round because he couldn't even make it to the fight. He couldn't even beat up a 170-pounder. He couldn't even beat up a 170-pounder that was in on 5 days' notice. He has never beaten a 185 or Khamzat Chimaev. And Aliskerov is no better than him. Aliskerov is on short notice fighting one of the best, most well-rounded fighters that the UFC's 185 division has ever seen. Robert the Reaper Whittaker. Bobby Knuckles is going to go in there and destroy Aliskerov.
Luke.
Aliskerov was. He goes, I can't do his accent. I wish I could. But he's like, I didn't know. I was fighting. But I am confident in my abilities.
Let me pick Robert Whittaker here so you can finish off. I know you're obviously going with Aliskerov or whatever. Hate this fight as well. Theme of the card for me. Aliskerov, whatever his name is. 2 fights in the UFC. 1 knockout over Phil Hawes. Give me a break. The other one knockout over some nobody. I don't even remember. But I need to see a lot more from this guy for me to say that he's going to get a win over Robert Whittaker. I know we don't like him, but whatever. He's one of the best middleweights the UFC has in their illustrious history here.
I fucking love Robert Whittaker. I don't like Robert Whittaker. I fucking love Robert Whittaker.
Well, there you go. So we're split on that. But we got a guy here who's completely unproven. as far as my opinion goes. I know everyone's ducking him. Apparently, the UFC brass is telling us. I don't know that to be true. I have no idea. What I do know,
not everyone's ducking him. He had a fucking fight signed up for the last weekend. What do you mean everyone's ducking him?
That's what the promos are telling us, Alex. I'm just saying what the promos are telling, and I'm agreeing with you. I am agreeing with you.
I am agreeing.
I don't even know that that's true. I don't even know that that's true. That's why I'm not buying into it.
Boys, puppets fight, my puppets. Infighting. The Robert Whittaker camp is weak. I'm
going with Whittaker. Dude, I don't know. You got to show me a little bit more than a Phil Hawes knockout for me to be like, oh, I'm fucking all in.
Whittaker, ready?
On the all-time great.
That's Robert Whittaker next weekend. Ready? He's going to be like,
Luke, I can't wait for you to lose all that fucking money. I can't wait for you to lose all that fucking money, you sausage. You don't even know what you're talking about. Worley Alves and Phil Hawes ain't shit. Worley Alves. Oh yeah, Worley Alves and Phil Hawes. Worley Alves. Luke, Worley Alves is a 170. Luke, Worley Alves is a 170 pounder. Worley Alves is a 170 pounder. Does this guy only fight 170? Is he bumping up in weight? What's going on? Phil Hawes. What's Phil Hawes fight at? 185?
I don't give a bollocks.
Yeah, you're gonna lose that $900. It's gonna be a nice even 3,000 at the end of the weekend if you don't bet on anything else. It's gonna be nice and round.
I'm putting 2,000 more on him. I'm just, why I couldn't? Because FanDuel is limiting my ass, and they won't let me bet 2,000. So I have to go to DraftKings and make sure that they'll let me bet my 2,000. And if they won't let me, I'm gonna have to go fuck into the casino.
Luke, I am so excited for you to lose all that money. I am so excited for you to bet $2,900.
You hold a hot rock in your hand. When you hold a hot coal in your hand, be very careful because it might just come back and burn your hand before you get a chance to throw it. Because guess what? I am rubber and you are glue, and whatever you say to me bounces off me and goes back to you. So I think that you're actually excited to lose your own money, and it is you. Even just being in this competition has been nothing but stress for you, and you just want to end it quick and easy. 6 events in. We're only 6 events in. As you said, we don't even have 52 events. We have less than 52. So we are 12% in at absolute minimum. And you are already getting scared 12% in. Most people quit at 40%. Your ass quits at 12%. I'm here for the whole.
I didn't quit. I just doubled my money last weekend. I'm gonna double my money again this weekend, and I'm back at 1,000.
Offline. I'm in talks with people offline. I got Maria Agapova in my DMs. I'm talking to people offline to replace both of you once I get ready.
Maria Agapova called you a creep to your face in your DMs.
Post that on the Patreon. Put it in the YouTube. We all need to see.
Guys, I need everybody in the Discord. I need everybody in the Patreon. I need everybody subscribed.
Discord's been quiet lately.
Discord's been a little too quiet, but hey, it was an Alex Perez main event. I understand. But listen, my big win was not celebrated enough. You better get into that Discord. Link in the description below. Get into the Discord. Celebrate my fucking win. Get into the Patreon. Give me fucking money. Get into that open bet sheet. You saw how pretty mine was. You saw the pictures of the flat earth. You saw the Agarthia imagery. You saw all of the different Hebrew text references. I'm always making it look cool. Get into the open bet sheet. Check out my bets. Entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Odds subject to change. We love you. Don't bet. Don't gamble. But if you do, you saw me. It's been 5 events. I turned 1,000 into 3,900. I actually turned 1,000 into 2,000. Back down to 1,000. Back up to 3,900.
Back under 1,000, actually. Back to 900, right?
Under 1,000, and then I inched back up above 1,000. Then I took it all the way to 3,900, and now my goal is 3,900 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80. Down payment on a house. It's a modest term. Obviously, 80K isn't going far in this market. We're gonna wait. Maybe buy a crack house, cash, get in, say, okay, no more crack, clean it up, sweep the floors.
Jared Gordon style, baby. Jared Gordon style. Sometimes you got to get in the crack. A little bit
more, or I rent it out. I say, hey, you guys come in, you rent my house. No, I would never. I'm not a landlord, but here's what I'll do. When I say down payment on a house, it's a metaphor, okay? I don't even really exist. But when I say down payment on a house, it's a metaphor. Probably just buy some more Cardano, not financial advice. Probably just, I was rewatching Ben Askren. Anyway, we got to get out of here, guys. Let's go through a full picks, top to bottom, everybody. If you're rolling with me, if you're rocking with the Lukey King, top to bottom, I'm going with Ikram Aliskerov, Sergey Pavlovich, Kelvin Gastelum, Muhammad Naimov, Johnny Walker, Johnny Lutterbach, Nazareth Hopcross, Hinat Fakhretdinov, Muin Gafurov, B. Ribeiro, Brendan Ribeiro, Dennis Tiuliulin, and Chang Ho Lee. Holy Chang, I'm going with Chang.
Holy Xiao, Luke.
Holy Xiao, I'm going with Chang. Sorry. Those are my picks. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Guys, read yours slow. I got to record them in the open bet sheet.
Chang Ho Lee. Cedric Dumas. We're going Magomedov Gadzhiyasulov. We're going Kyung Ho Kang. We're going Fakhretdinov. How about a little Nazrat Hakbarast? How about a little Jalton Lutterbach? Big doggy. No one's expecting that except for me and Alex. We're going a little bit of Johnny Walker Black. We're going with a little, maybe Muhammad Naimov. Maybe. We'll see. We're going with KG, not Kevin Garnett. And the Celtics,
The big
we're
ticket.
going to lose tonight. We'll see what the score is. I got to check. Kelvin Gastelum out of Fight Ready. We're going with Sergey Pavlovich, the only guy whose knockout is lower than his money line, and we're going with Robert Whittaker. Top it all off.
And if you want to come and take a bet with me,
You said you were gonna do that.
I gotta do that. I gotta make a rap with all of the on a big card. I'll do it Aoxus style. I'll do a little Aoxus style rap for my picks. We're going with Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker, Sergey Pavlovich. Oh, Robert Whittaker, big money bet. Kelvin Gastelum, not so much. Mama Naimov, not so much. Johnny Walker, decent sized money bet. Jalton Lutterbach, decent sized money bet. Jared Gordon, no money on that. Renat Fakhretdinov, big money bet on Renat Fakhretdinov. Muin Gafurov, meh, nothing. We're not really putting anything on that. Gadzhiyasulov, nothing really on that either. Cedriscus Dumas, nothing on that. And holy Xiao, I'm going with Long Xiao. So my 4 money picks of the night, to be honest, are Robert Whittaker, Johnny Walker, Lutterbach, and my boy Renat Fakhretdinov.
Okay.
That's a stable parlay right there. That is a stable
Whittaker,
parlay.
Walker, Lutterbach, and Fakhretdinov.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There you go.
That's gonna pay my tuition.
And you went with Pavlovich, so he'll be
Navy?
certified, right?
Huh?
You went with Pavlovich.
Hell yeah, brother.
Pavlovich, Gastelum, Naimov, Walker, Lutterbach, and Fakhretdinov will be the Triple B certified picks of the card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Triple B certified picks for everybody. And we hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to get out
Opposite of Divine 9.
Yep. And last week, 1, 2, 3, we went 3 for 5, just getting Carly Judas and Gary Armfield incorrect. But
She won that fight, by the way. Come on, we should count that towards our record.
Great lady fight. What are you going to do? What the heck are you going to do?
Armfield, I'm gonna be kicking myself about that Armfield fight for the rest of the month.
All right. Well, that's the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please give it a like, give it a subscribe, tap the notification bell. I really don't care about any of this. I'm just making sure I do some housekeeping real quick before we leave. But obviously, we don't exist. We love you. And join the Patreon, $100 for the full year. I took my $1,000 to $3,900 in year 5. So you can too. Not really. You're not me. Don't ever pretend to be. This isn't even real. Don't gamble. We love you. Thank you. Not financial advice. Entertainment purposes only. Can't stress that enough. But we love you. Please get into the Patreon, subscribe, get into the Discord, talk to us during the show. Really, we just want to hear from you. Good or bad. Good, bad, or indifferent. If you think Robert Whittaker's going to win, tell me I'm an idiot. Put it in the comments. Put it in the Discord. DM me in the Patreon. The open bet sheet I showed you at the beginning of the show. You have access to that link in the Patreon. Everything's nice and neat for you. Everything's nice and clean. Just get in there. At the end of the day, if you can't fucking help me, Alex, and Dan by giving us each $33 over the course of a year for everything that we do, this is a 90-minute show. You should be giving us $33 each for this 90 minutes alone. $10
per half hour. That's pretty fair and reasonable. I'm talking to you for half an hour. You can't give me $10 in today's economy with the inflation rate at what it is, $20 an hour. You can't hook us up with $20 an hour. $20 an hour after tax is like $15 an hour. $15 an hour is minimum wage. You're telling me that I don't deserve more than minimum wage for everything I've provided, everything I've done, all of these things that I've done. I love you guys. Thanks for joining the show. Just all I need is your love. All I need is your love tonight. All right. That's all I need. Thanks for joining the show. And Alex, Dan, any final words? Marshall?
Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.